The pilot script fee is what you get up front to write the pilot script. You're going to get that money. Pilot fee is how much, the dollar amount you're going to get if they decide to shoot the pilot. You have a presentation fee, which is similar if they make a presentation, which is like a lesser form of a pilot. Then you have a series sale bonus. If your pilot goes to series, if it gets on the air, again, a long shot, this is a bonus they're going to pay you just to, hey, here's some more money. Yeah, oh, cool, you're giving me bonus money. No, this is money they should have given you earlier. You're listening to Screenwriters Need to Hear This with Michael Jamin. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Screenwriters Need to Hear This. I'm Michael Jamin. I am here with Phil Hudson. Hello, Phil.
What up?
What up, everyone? So today's episode is called Negotiating a TV Pilot Sale. This is going to be the nuts and bolts. This is going to be, you're all going to start drooling.
I'm very excited already.
You are?
And I think that this is the thing that most people want to know is, how do I sell my thing? And I want to back up by saying, if you're at this point and you have not listened to the other episodes where Michael talks about you need to have a good script first, this is not helpful information, and you're falling into that category of people who are learning to have information and not doing the work, right? So make sure you're writing, then figure out how to do this. Write a good thing, and then learn how to sell it.
These are problems that you're going to have, but they're good problems. So when you pitch, basically what happens is you pitch your pilot script, and the studio or network says, I love it. Let's do it. Let's make a deal. And then this is when you get your entertainment attorney involved. You don't even need an agent or a manager, but you need an attorney because they need to negotiate for certain things. And a lot of people always say, like, well, can I negotiate for this or that? And you can negotiate for anything you want, but it all comes down to leverage. Do you have any leverage? Mm-hmm. Usually when you're starting out, you have no leverage. Your only leverage is to walk away from the deal. So do you want to walk? Then you get nothing. Often, if you think of it, your first deal, first of all, your first deal is not going to be great. Your first deal in Hollywood will not be great. It just never is for anybody. So expect to get screwed, and welcome to Hollywood. That's how, but also you haven't earned the right not to. And I mean, I say screwed, you're not necessarily going to get screwed, but you're not going to get what you want, but you haven't earned it anyway. They're taking a chance on you. You're unproven. You haven't done it before. They're taking a big chance on you, and so you may think you were amazing, but you haven't proven it yet. So expect to take a haircut, and whatever they're going to give you, it'll be a haircut. And so this, like I said, you have leverage. Your leverage is you can walk away. Your other leverage could be, can you get into a bidding war? Can you get this network to like it as well as this network? And then you can get a bidding war, and that's great. But it's super hard. It's hard enough to sell it to one person or one network, let alone have two fall in love with it. I mean, that's really hard. So keep that in mind. The very first thing, and by the way, I should mention this, that, even if the money's low, you will get paid in other ways. You will get paid in contacts. You'll get paid in experience. You'll get paid, hopefully, with something you're proud of that you can show again to other people. So don't just think of it in terms of, well, how much money am I putting in my pocket? There's other things that you can put in your pocket, that are just as valuable. And having a good working relationship with whoever you sell it to, or if you have a producer attached or whatever, a good working relationship is worth a lot. It's worth, that pays dividends down the line. So you just sold it. Your entertainment attorney says, okay, let's go over all the points that we have to negotiate for.
Can I interrupt real fast?
Yeah.
Because I want to, you've told a story in the past about a time when you were working with an influencer who had kind of like a video go viral, and they were talking to you, and you just felt like their demands were too premature for where they were in the industry. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk a little bit about what it means to understand what you deserve at that point? Because I feel like that's a hard thing to quantify, but I think it's a very important point. And there are a lot of famous stories of people throwing away their opportunities because they feel like they deserve something a little bit beyond where they are.
Yeah, I'll talk briefly about that because I know we've mentioned, so I'll skate through it fast for anyone who has already heard it, but it's probably worth mentioning again. So my partner and I were going to, a producer discovered this this person who had put these YouTube videos up, and they were like miniature episodes, and there were probably a couple dozen of them. and they were short, 5 to 10 minutes. And she wrote, and her partner directed them, and some were really quite good, and some had like millions of views, and some weren't good at all, and they had fewer views. But as a body of work, it was like, there's something there. This woman, she did something and pretty cool. And so this producer discovered it. And they reached out to me and my partner. Hey, would you be interested in maybe developing this as a TV show? So we met with her and we said, well, yeah. I mean, we were on the fence, but we're like, we would be if you're willing to make these changes. Are you comfortable with these changes? Because this is what we would have to do to sell it. And she was cool with it. She's like, yeah, sure. But then, so we were going to go forward with it. And then the people, the studio was drawing up the contracts. And I never heard back for a couple of weeks. And then I contacted them. I was like, hey, what's going on? Why, where's the paperwork? And then they go, oh, yeah, it fell through. This person and their partner were being difficult. And we said, screw it. The studio said, screw it. No, we're too many red flags with you guys. And I think what it came down to is her partner wanted to direct it. And it's like, they're not going to trust that kind of money. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to put that kind of faith in someone who hasn't done it before. And no, it's my way or the highway. And so the deal fell apart, and I felt bad for her. But it wasn't my call. I had nothing to do with it. So things can go away,
So that's an important thing to know. And then I'm guessing that your advice is listen to your attorney and your agent if you have one, because their interest in this deal is the percentage of participation they're going to get. So they have a vested interest in you getting the best deal you can get, right? Because they're going to make more money if you get a better deal.
Yeah, and hopefully you have a competent attorney or agent. Hopefully they were competent, because they shouldn't screw it up. Although I do know cases where lawyers have screwed up deals. So okay, I don't have, my lawyer's quite good. I'm happy with mine, but okay. Very happy with my legal team. So the first thing they're going to come to you is they're going to say, you're going to negotiate for your pilot script fee. And this is the amount of money that the studio is going to pay you to write the pilot script. That's it, just to write it. Personally, my partner and I always try to get that number as high as possible. There's other numbers to me, that's how much money am I putting in my pocket today? That's, to me, is the most important one, because I have to pay my bills. Then you're going to negotiate for your pilot fee, which is how much money they're going to pay you if the script, they like your script and decide to actually shoot it. Most scripts, they do not. Only a small percentage of scripts do they decide to shoot it. And if they shoot it, they pay you more because there's actually more work involved. You have to, there's a lot of work to shooting a pilot. Now, a lot of people think, ooh, this is amazing. I get paid extra if I do my pilot, if they shoot my pilot. That's not why they're doing it. They're structuring it this way to pay you less. It's like they really should just pay you a pilot fee and your pilot script fee and your pilot fee. It should be one large number, and it should be all up front. But they don't do it that way. They do it so they can make these steps.
They're hedging their bets, right, to pay the least amount of money for an option on your script,
right,
that the option to produce it. And if they do produce it, then they're willing to spend more because now they're taking more risk. And
right. But it doesn't work this way in other industries. If I go to the store, if you sell eggs and I go, okay, a dozen eggs, and you go, okay, that's $4. And I go, well, Phil, $4 is a lot. What if I pay you $3 for those eggs, and then I'll pay you another $1 if I decide to make an omelet out of it? Yeah. You're going to be like, I don't really care what you do with my eggs. But that's what it is. So
this is great.
Hollywood has a way of twisting things to make it seem like, ooh, they're giving me more money, but no, they're not. They're giving you less money.
So let me ask you just a couple questions here for clarification, and obviously, to your comfort level here, because we're talking about finances. A pilot script fee, what's the range on that someone might expect out of the gate versus someone who's got an experience?
It totally depends on where you sell it. It totally depends on how much demand, what your quote is, and often you don't even. Often you have they might not even honor your quote. It just totally depends. It totally depends on where you're selling it. I mean, it could be $30,000. It could be $300,000 or more. It just depends on who you are and who you sell it to and how much demand there is and all that stuff. So there's a wide range.
And a quote for those people who don't know is you work for basically minimums, and then your next deal you get a little bit more, and then that becomes your new quote. And then
Yes.
you work some more, and then your rate goes up, and it keeps going up ideally until you get to a point where your quote is a certain amount, and that's different than what the minimums negotiated by the Writers Guild would be.
That's very different. And we've had times where we'll sell a project and they go, well, our lawyer's like, well, this is their quote. And they go, yeah, we don't honor quotes here. Then it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that. Okay. So then.
Well, one last question. These fees, are any of these percentages, or are they flat fees, or is that just up to the negotiation?
No, the pilot script and the pilot script fee and the pilot fee, that's a dollar amount.
It's a dollar amount. And this is a point where it can get a little confusing on at least the feature side, where we're going to pay you $250 against $750 based on this. And that's like, we're going to give you $250. And if it gets produced, then we'll pay you up to the $750 mark. But you're going to get this up front.
Right.
Assuming we make it, you get the rest of the money. Right.
Yeah, no, this is what you're going to get up front. The pilot script fee is what you get up front to write the pilot script. You're going to get that money. Pilot fee is how much, the dollar amount you're going to get if they decide to shoot the pilot. You have a presentation fee, which is similar if they make a presentation, which is like a lesser form of a pilot. Then you have a series sale bonus. If your pilot goes to series, if it gets on the air, again, a long shot, this is a bonus they're going to pay you just to, hey, here's some more money. Yeah, oh, cool. You're giving me bonus money. No, this is money they should have given you earlier. Like, why am I, this is their business decision. They should be assuming the risk. Why am I assuming the risk? Well, welcome to Hollywood. Then you have to negotiate for your series services. And so this is basically what your title would be and what your episodic fee would be, how much you're going to get paid per episode to make each episode of television. That's $1.
And the title is not guaranteed to be showrunner if this is your first at bat and lightning strikes and you're out there. It could be,
and showrunner is not even a title. It would be executive producer, right? And so if you're out of the gate, your title might be, producer. It might be lower than that. That's what you have to negotiate for.
Yep.
And then your episodic fees, how much you get paid. If they buy 10 episodes, they have to pay you per episode. And that's your fee. That's how much. That's a dollar amount. Then you negotiate for your consultant fee. Let's say you decide to leave your show. Let's say they fire you off your show. Let's say they don't want you to run your own show. What is the amount that you're going to get paid per episode there? And all this has to be figured out often this is figured out before you even sell the show. The studio says, we like it. Let's negotiate it. We haven't sold it to a network yet, but let's just figure it out so that you can't put us over a barrel later if someone wants it. So you start drooling over this money, even though it may not even be real yet. Or sometimes it happens afterwards. It kind of just depends. So how about that?
Love it.
Yeah. Then you have your royalty, which is basically if the show goes into series, you get a small taste week after week. Regardless of whether you're working on the show. It might be higher if you can stay on the show, but if they fire you off the show, this is money you get to keep in your pocket every episode. Hey, it's Michael Jamin. If you like my videos and you want me to email them to you for free, join my watch list. Every Friday, I send out my top 3 videos. These are for writers, actors, creative types. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I'm not going to spam you, and it's absolutely free. Just go to michaeljamin.com/watchlist.
But you get this money even if you're on the show, is that right? The royalty?
You may get more if you're on it. You may get less if they fire you off your show. But it's not even a lot. It's usually just a.
This is that famous Frank Darabont, The Walking Dead, sued for millions and millions of dollars and won because they were making money off of his.
Well, that may be the back end point.
Well, he got fired off the show, and. They weren't paying things, but then they were relicensing and doing spinoffs and all these other things, and they weren't paying him monies that were negotiated.
I don't know if that would have, but I don't know if that's a royalty or a back end.
I'll put a link to it because it talks about specifics of this situation. I'm pretty sure it was royalty related because it was also tied to video game content and transmedia and all that other stuff. So.
Right.
But anyway.
Then your back end points. So the royalty is the way I look at it is how much money they're going to pay you to stay home. That's how I
Mm.
look at it. But then there's back end points, which is your ownership. Is like that's the money usually you get rich on back in the day. Nowadays, you don't really get rich on it at all because it's
This is Seinfeld got his money off of back
yeah,
end points, right?
Seinfeld, right. Seinfeld got rich off his back end points. Uh, and then you have to negotiate for your exclusivity and your position, which means, let's say you're on the show. Are you exclusive to the show? Are you allowed to do other shows, other projects on the side, movies, write pilots? Are you allowed to do any of this? It has to be negotiated. And your position is like, well, okay, let's say I have 3 projects. Which is the one that gets the most, which is the most important one? Which is the one that calls the shots? If I'm on a show, they've negotiated probably for first position. So if I have a pilot I'm doing on the side, everything, as long I can do that pilot, as long as I fulfill my work on this other show first, that's negotiated. Then you negotiate often for an assistant. That's something they often put in if you're running a show. Some people care, some people don't, whatever. And then the big thing is to negotiate for is guild, is who's going to, which guild is this going to be covered by? If you're selling it to a WGA signatory, which is any of the big studios, then it's going to be covered by the Writers Guild. And that's important because the Writers Guild provides you your health, your pension, your residuals and all that stuff. But if you sell an animated show, more often than not, the studios will say, well, no, you can't, it won't be a Writers Guild show. We'll make it an Animators Guild show. And that's a bummer because they do that to save money. So your terms aren't going to be as good if it was a Writers Guild show. I always say you want to get a guild show always. So that's a bummer, but can't get around that. And so so those are the things. Those are the things your lawyer's going to say. Okay, what's the most important thing to you? And you may think, whoa, those back end points look really good. That's my money over the rainbow. And so, okay, maybe you want to emphasize that. Again, we tend to emphasize, I want to get that money up front.
Yeah.
So
1 in the hand's better than 2 in the bush.
Yeah, but that's a personal decision. So yeah.
Okay, and my perspective on this, having had a background in sales and marketing, is that in this situation, this is where you truly want to lean on the expertise of the legal team and the agents that you have or your managers, because they have an interest. It's a self-interest in this. They're going to make a percentage off of what you make. So you want to listen to them and let them negotiate the best deal they
Yeah.
can and kind of get out of the way until you have a better understanding of this.
But also, I should point out, like, when you sell your show, the creative department buys it at the studio or the network, whoever's buying it. And then they call their business affairs department, which is their set of lawyers. And they say, okay, business affairs, make the deal. And so now you're negotiating with the people. They don't have an emotional attachment to it. They don't want it. They don't like it. Their job is to get, to hang on to as much money as possible. And so you're negotiating with people they're not even the ones who want it. You understand? So there's that. It's lawyers negotiating with other lawyers.
Yep. Yeah. Just which is why you don't want to go into the Viper's den here. Let the Vipers hang out with the Vipers.
I mean,
stay clear of that.
I pay my my entertainment lawyer 5% of everything we get, and to me that's money always well spent because I'm not an expert at this. All they do is negotiate deals and read contracts. I don't read contracts for a living. What do I know? So they find all these little things and minutia, and often they'll my lawyer at least will fight for stuff, and then my agent or manager goes, that's not as important really. And okay, they back off a little bit, but they're they're tigers. They go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Do you have any advice about kind of leading up to the step before this, where you're out pitching your idea and you're potentially, trying to get that deal? Are there any things that you need to have prepared? I've heard this referred to as, the advice, you should have a series Bible. You should know what the first 100 episodes of your story are. You should have a pitch deck available made that shows who your actors would be that you would ideally cast in this thing. That to me was work that a lot of people I know have put in time and energy, people have put into their pilots. And then you move on to, your advice, which seems to be very much the other side of this, which is don't worry about that right now. Just write the best thing you can write and then worry about it when you need to have it.
Yeah, I see. And by the way, we just had a meeting. We were talking kind of an independent producer, and they were talking about putting together a pitch deck and even a sizzle reel. I was like, really? And I don't think we're going to do it, but like some people are different. With my partner, I tend not to do that kind of stuff. It's that's more for people who are, I guess more for people who are hustling. And we're always about like pitching to people like, well, are they going to give me I want my money up front. And so it's a little bit less hustling. It's more, but again, the thing to really focus on, and it's so easy to focus on, how do I sell it? It's like, why don't you focus on how do you write it first? Like, you're putting the cart ahead of the horse. Like, how do I sell it? Well, it's a lot easier to sell it if you have something fantastic and not sizzle. And I even hate the word sizzle reel, because how do I sell the sizzle? Well, why don't you worry about the steak first before the sizzle? I don't like that. I just think, why don't it's so tempting to focus on the things that are not writing, because writing is hard.
Yeah. And so step one in the Michael Jamin checklist of how to sell your pilot is, or negotiate your deal, is write a good script.
Yeah. But people like to skip that part, or they assume they already have, or they assume, well, we'll just hire people. We'll get people to get the experts will do that. There are not going to be experts. No one's going to, there are no experts. You're the expert.
Right.
So,
right. Okay. That makes sense. There's someone on social media as another writer that has kind of tagged you in some stuff back and forth. And he brought up the fact that, he works on a Bible and he has these things. And I asked him the question, I said, from your perspective, does it make sense to build that out when you have interest, or is it better just to have it in case there's interest, assuming you have a good script? And his perspective is, from a pilot, if you write a pilot and you're happy with the pilot, then you do the Bible just so you have it done. And it's basically here's the arc for this character. Here's the arc for this character. Here's the season arc for this character. Here's where I see this going in season 2. And then you're done and you walk away, just so you have something prepared to hand to someone in case someone ever asks for it, rather than, I don't know, I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and I have to me, that sounds like a pitch document, which is what we do. We go in, so we don't even write the pilot usually. We usually have the idea. We have the idea of the pilot script figured out, and we talk about, future episodes. We don't call it a Bible. We just call it a pitch document, because they're going to ask those questions like, well, what else? Tell me a little bit more. What other sample episodes? And we're just telling them these episodes just to give them a flavor of the show. We're not promising we're going to shoot it. We're going to tell that story at all. We're just going to say, well, this is a sample idea, that just so you can get a sense of the flavor and what the other characters are like. So yeah, I guess you can call it that. We don't call it a Bible. We just call it a pitch document.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of confusion about what that is. Like, what is a deck and what is a Bible? I had a couple producers say, oh, let me send you a couple Bibles we loved. We think they're great. And I opened them and I was like, this just looks like a pitch deck to me.
Yeah.
It's a brief summary of the story, a brief summary of the series, and then a photo of an actor that's well known that they would play this type of character, just so people can get an idea of it. But then you can go download the Battlestar Galactica Bible, and it is a thick document that breaks down every character, their arcs, the stories, the technical things happening in the world.
And that's something the writer's assistant put together as they were shooting the show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like they did it before the show, the Bible, where they go, whoever pitched the show said, hey, here's our Bible. We're going to work off this. It's the other way around. It's like they've come up with the episodes, they've done the show, and then someone has to sit down and type up the Bible. This is what it was.
Right. And the new writers for Tacoma FD this season, they reached out to myself and Hannah, our script coordinator, and they said, hey, do we have any type of Bible story, a series Bible or anything like that we could see? And the best I had was, let me send you all of the scripts we've ever done, because it's not something we've ever made on our show, because it's just not a requirement.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like extra work, but that's what, yeah.
But that Bible, I'm assuming, is for that exact reason. We have new writers in. Let's tell them who these characters are, what experiences they've had on the show in a brief summary version, so they don't have to go spend 18 hours reading 18 episodes of TV.
And I would make them do that anyway. I would, if I were a new writer on a show or a showrunner, I'd say, but got to watch all the episodes. Sorry, or read all the episodes. So I don't know. That's like a shortcut, but yeah. Anyway, so those are things to think about when you're negotiating on a TV pilot, and it's all very fun and exciting. And I would also recommend don't get too greedy, because yesterday you would have done all of this for free, And then today someone's offering you money and you go, that's not enough money. But yesterday we were going to do it for free. So, keep that in mind. Don't, I'm not saying you should get screwed, but keep in mind that your first deal is not going to be your best deal because you haven't done it before. And they're going to, they should get a discount. It's fair. They should get a discount.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think it's still great advice. And, this goes back to what you've always said. Step one, write a great script, write something that they want to buy. And then this is a problem for the wealthy, right?
Yeah. Good problems to have.
Great.
All right. That's it, everyone. Well, I want to point out on this episode as well, because we have a new feature on our site and people may not remember it, but two things, Phil. One, some people want to read some sample scripts that my partner and I have written. So those are now available to download for free on our website. Go to michaeljamin.com/about and you can download a few scripts. And the other thing is our watch list, which is our weekly newsletter that Phil sends out for free and every Friday. And so we're always adding more, more free stuff onto there. And to get on the watch list, it's michaeljamin.com/watch list.
That's right. It's all good stuff. And always, check out Michael's social media at Michael Jamin Writer, where he puts out daily content that is relevant to what's happening right now. Questions people are asking. You're always going live on there. So if people want to catch you and get their questions answered real time, you do that very regularly.
And if you miss the lives, Phil reposts them on our YouTube channel at Michael Jamin Writer. So go subscribe to YouTube.
Lots of content. Yeah, go check out the playlist Past Lives, and we've referenced how that's very confusing, but it's literally his past lives that he's done.
Yes, past live episode. Yeah, we'll figure out something. Past lives. It's kind of funny to be confusing. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Oh, and again, if you're interested in our course, we have a screenwriting course for those people who really want to up the game. That's at michaeljamin.com/course. And the first 3 episodes or first 3 lessons are free. So you might as well, even if you're not interested, you might as well go grab them.
Those are at michaeljamin.com/free. They're a little bit different than just so you can go sign up and then, you can always check out the course later too.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Until the next time.
Thanks, everyone. This has been an episode of Screenwriters Need to Hear This with Michael Jamin and Phil Hudson. If you'd like to support this podcast, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing this podcast with someone who needs to hear today's subject. For free daily screenwriting tips, follow Michael on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Michael Jamin Writer. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Phil A. Hudson. This episode was produced by Phil Hudson and edited by Dallas Crane. Until next time, keep writing.